Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Zed. Today, we're going to be giving another update on SOS. We're going to dive a little bit into the latest news, due diligence, technical analysis, that kind of thing. Now, it's been a while since I made the last video. I believe it was back in August, but let's jump right into this one. So for this one company here, in case this is the first time you ever hear about them, SOS basically identifies themselves as an offshore holding company conducting a portion of their operations in China through Qingdao SOS Industrial Holdings, a variable interest entity. And they basically hold multiple different companies underneath. And this is, again, I'm rewording a lot of what I'm reading, but they basically have blockchain technology relating towards cryptocurrency mining generally. Now, they still have other services such as rescue services, information services, rescue cards, medical apparatus, and blockchain. But the recent kind of highlights really comes towards the mining operations they have. Now, on October 18th, 2021, and this raised the stock a little bit in the last few days, you're able to see that they leased an office in Manhattan as its North American headquarters. So here they announced a lease of its North American headquarters at 866 2nd Avenue, New York, SOS information. And right here is basically the location for the 867 we're talking about. It's right adjacent. This is 866. That's in New York, so it's one of these towers up. But taking a look into other news as well, the last one before then was September 10th, so it was a while, and they were actually reporting a 6 months interim financial results. And back on June 21st, 2021, they entered into a joint venture agreement with Niagara Development. This was mainly to have their own electricity generations. And on May 18th, they actually also mentioned the launch of 6,039 mining rigs to scale the cryptocurrency mining operations. And before then, all the way since January, you're going to see multiple different things relating towards cryptocurrencies, such as this one here, entering into purchase of agreement for 575 cryptocurrency mining rigs. Now, they also raised some offerings previously to pay for these mining rigs, and they costed a lot of people some losses for the small term, such as this one here back on March 30th, where they announced the pricing of $125 million as direct offering. That's almost 1/5 or 1/4 of their entire market cap at the time. And taking a look into some of the institutional buyers and that kind of thing, we're able to see that the institutional buyers are mixed. We have some liquidations that happened yesterday. Belvedere Trading, they liquidated their entire position and their call position, and Kestra Advisory Services liquidated their entire position. Although we see back on the 12th, First Trust Advisors added around 476,000 shares into this one, and it's a little bit mixed after that, but recently it looks like kind of almost mixed. You have 2 selling, 1 buying. The rest is small adjustments to each of their positions. Now, in terms of the short interest, you're able to see there's around 1.86 days to cover for the short interest ratio. Around half of all the dark pool volume goes towards the short volume. Current ratio is 53.27. Current short shares availability 450,000, although the short borrow fee rate is very small at 4.85. So it doesn't really signify anything relating towards a short squeeze or anything, but with the spike of volume yesterday, around 20 million, half of that went to the short selling side. Before we move on towards technical analysis, make sure to click the subscribe button on the bottom right corner and leave notifications on, and also drop a like to this video. If you'd like to see more contents like this and engage with us, there's a Discord link down in the description below, totally free, and we're not trying to upsell you in anything on there. Now towards technical analysis. Now, from a technical analysis perspective, what we do get to see for SOS is a bunch of indicators here that aren't really looking the best, although they're improving by the day. 200 SMA is above the 50 SMA, so that's bearish on its own, and the 30 EMA is above the 10 SMA, so that's bearish. But the price point jumped above the 50 SMA at the 247, making this one again bullish. In terms of the 80X at 1698, currently showing that there might be strength towards this movement. It's starting to look a bit more bullish, and there might be another leg up for this one, even though it really made a hard pullback today for around 6%. In terms of the willing percent R, it escaped the overbought zone, which is kind of good in the same time. By the way, willing percent R is very similar to the RSI, and what you're seeing here is going from overbought, meaning there's more buyers than sellers, to neutral. That's kind of a momentum, checks and balances, so you don't really expect expect a massive pullback again. In terms of the MACD, even with this pullback, we're still seeing it push forward, and there's a still strong histogram in here suggesting that the buying activity is still strong. Momentum is also still positive at 0.43, so that's a bullish thing to look for. The other thing here, stochastic fast and stochastic slow, and what we're seeing is the stochastic slow is pointing upwards, suggesting another leg up for this one. Stochastic fast is a little bit mixed, suggesting that in the short term you might get a couple of red candles, including the one we've seen today, so you got to be very careful on where the next support lies. Now in terms of Fibonacci retracements, we're going to cover that in a second, but first is the Bollinger Bands. You're able to see that this one is expected to trade for the short term, at least today, between 256 and 186, and that range is expanding per day. But the good news is the moving average bands right here are kind of going upwards at this point, curving upwards, and that's a good thing, although volume is lower than the day before, of course suggesting there's lower interest, and that's usually a dangerous sign. Coming in towards Fibonacci retracements, which is used by institutional buyers and high frequency traders, we see a significant support. That this one is very critical, you don't want to break it. 257. Below there, 202. Resistances are 291, 319, 346, 386, and 436. In terms of just trying to capture the normal supports and resistances, a critical one is at 258 and then 250, going downwards to 243, to 34, and then a little bit downwards to 226, going downwards to 218, and then down to 213 and 202. Resistances, you're able to see a current close support 263 by the way, but resistances, the closest one would be around the 275. Above there, a really strong one at 282 that failed to break today. Then 295, 303, you're seeing 314, 337, going upwards to 360, and up to 392, and then 436. Now, of course, if you extend backwards, you're able to see all the way up to 1588, but the stock has really dropped significantly since then. That was back when a lot of the market was just skyrocketing based on any mentions of cryptocurrency. Currently, Bitcoin and all these other cryptocurrencies are soaring, and this one didn't capture back that kind of strength that you get to see with other stocks. But also a part of this one is that they have operations that are significant in China, and the crackdown on Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in China. Now it comes to the question to what do you expect, Ed? Now, this is a very dangerous stock to play. It hurt a lot of people, especially if you bought anything above really $3. So all this range from $4 or $3 all the way to $15.88. A lot of people really got messed up in their portfolios. So I do anticipate for this one to really try to break through. There's a lot of resistance above it, but if you give it time, it might be a bit rewarding. But volatility on this one is insane. Some days you get pushes all the way around $1 higher and then drop significantly, as you get to see with these massive candles. But I do think there's a bit of a pullback. You might get a little bit of a push if volumes start picking up, but if volumes keep dying, the best you can hope for is an accumulation in the short term. What do you think about this ticker? Make sure to mention down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like, and have a wonderful day.